What if the UFC had an Olympics? And what if only UFC fighters could compete in the Olympics, and specifically in two sports, the two major Olympic martial arts, boxing and wrestling? Which UFC fighters would medal? Which ones would win gold? Which ones would win silver? And which ones would win third place bronze? Well, that's what we are here to discuss today. We are going to rank the top 3 best boxers and wrestlers in each division. And this is about who's the best today. This is not about, all right, this guy has more credentials overall in his career in that one specific sport, but he hasn't competed in it in 20 years. So it's about who's the best today. Durability, injuries, age, all of that will be factored in. But the reason why we're only doing wrestling and boxing and not the other 3 martial arts like judo, taekwondo, and karate is because for wrestling, there'd be a lot of overlap with the judo. I feel like we'd have a lot of the same winners. And for taekwondo and karate, I mean, it would just be like a 2-hour-long video. Maybe we'll do a part 2 to this, but for today, we're just doing boxing and wrestling. Let's get into the first sport, which is boxing, and the first weight class, which is flyweight, 125 pounds. Who is bringing home gold? Well, before we get into the gold medal match, I think that we got to talk about who the best boxers are in the flyweight division. All right. When I think about boxers, I think about guys like Steve Ercik, Brandon Moreno, Kai Kara France, Manel Kape, Joshua Van. Now, the issue with Joshua Van is he's just unproven against the elite fighters. He lost to Charles Johnson in his last outing. Pure boxing is amazing. I don't know if it's top 3. Kai Kara France versus Manel Kape. I think these are probably the 3rd and 4th best boxers in this weight class. I'm going to say Manel Kape takes home the bronze medal. I think Manel Kape has better hand speed, better combinations, better footwork than Kai Kara France. Also, Kai Kara France uses kicks a lot, and if you take that away from him, even though Manel Kape kicks a lot, I think that impacts his game more than it would impact Manel Kape's ability to have success. Now, who would win the gold medal match? All right, we've got Angola or Portugal, whatever country Manel Kape wants to rep. He's got bronze. I'm going to have Australia versus Mexico in the gold medal match. Steve Ercik versus Brandon Moreno. And it's time to factor in wear and tear. I think Brandon Moreno's had a lot of wars. I think his durability is on the decline. Steve Ercik is the fresher guy. He's the younger guy. He's the rangier guy. Moreno didn't have the best performance in his last outing. I think Steve Ercik wins the gold medal. I think Australia is winning gold for boxing. Steve Ercik with the long, rangy boxing style, great uppercuts, great check left hooks as well. Lots of power, does everything by the book, good defense as well. Moreno, great jab, great overhands, great combinations, great hand speed, but I just think the durability is going to be the difference here, and I think that Steve Ercik is a little bit too clean, a little bit too surgical. He's going to win the gold. Moreno, in my opinion, would win silver. Let's get on to the next division, the bantamweight division. Guys, the explanations aren't going to be that long because we have a lot of sports and a lot of weight classes. I'm going to say Jose Aldo. I really do believe that if Jose Aldo were to just box people at bantamweight, there's only a couple of people that he would lose to, and we'll get to them in a minute. But I think that we've already seen this guy outbox Rob Font, who since they fought, Rob Font's only gotten older. I think, honestly, Jose Aldo could outbox Corey Sandhagen. I think Sandhagen would beat Aldo by throwing lots of kicks and mixing things up. But I don't know if Sandhagen would outbox Jose Aldo. I think Aldo has tremendous power. He's incredibly fast twitch. He's got nasty body shots, great combinations, and he can knock you out. I think Aldo still to this day is good enough to win bronze for Brazil. Let's get on to the next one. The gold medal match would be fought between Sean O'Malley from the USA and Petr Yan from Russia. Okay? I think Petr Yan would outbox Sean O'Malley in a pure boxing match. Maybe I'm a little bit biased, but when these guys fought, O'Malley did really well, but I actually thought that Yan outboxed O'Malley in moments. Remember, O'Malley cut him with a knee. O'Malley was head kicking him. O'Malley was teeping him to the body. When it just came to the boxing combos, you would see O'Malley land, some 1-2s through the guard of Petr Yan, a couple of jabs here and there. And yes, there was one great overhand that he landed on Yan that kind of rocked him in the second round, but Yan landed the better overhand 10 seconds later that had O'Malley more rocked than he was. Yan landed the big counter shots, the nasty counter shots. He landed big body shots in the clinch throughout that fight. And I think that he looked like the slicker boxer, just in a pure boxing match. No kicks, no knees, okay? No teeps. Pure boxing, I think O'Malley would be the output guy. I think O'Malley would literally be the one that's more active. He'd be landing. But I think that Yan would be landing the better shots, and eventually Yan would be catching O'Malley and hurting him more often. And I could easily see Yan getting a TKO in the later rounds. So I think Russia would take home gold. I think USA, O'Malley, unfortunately for O'Malley, I think that in the later rounds, when it comes down to the Guerrero spirit, O'Malley's tough, he's fast, but I really think that in a pure boxing match, Yan would get the better of him with those nasty counter shots. So I'm going to go with Yan winning gold, O'Malley from the U.S. winning silver, and Aldo winning bronze. Let's get on to the next one, the featherweight division. This is a pretty obvious top three. We've got 3 guerreros, all right? We have 3 warriors. Who's winning bronze? Well, guys, let me be honest and let me be clear. I think that Max Holloway is probably getting pretty far in this competition. So is Volkanovski, and so is Ilia Topuria. Now, again, we're talking about the best today, all right? And we recently saw Volkanovski and Ilia Topuria just box. Not really. There was lots of kicks going on, but in the boxing, we saw Topuria eventually knock Volkanovski out. I think Topuria would definitely be higher than Volk. The question is, could Volk still beat Max? Would Volk make it through the killer's row that we have in the featherweight division? Would he not get chinned at this point in his career? I think Max Holloway has a better chance to outbox people in that division more times over. So I think that it'd be a little bit risky for Volk. So maybe I'm going to put Volkanovski, despite the fact that he outboxed Holloway in their trilogy, despite the fact that he outboxed him quite easily and 50-45'd him. So back then, Volk would have definitely won gold. But, you know, this is a different Olympics, a different game. I think Volkanovski's taken home bronze. You know, the multiple-time gold medalist, Volkanovski, is not going to take home gold this time, guys. Unfortunately, I know it's unprecedented. We've never seen anything like this, but it's the case. Holloway or Ilia Topuria in a pure boxing battle. Man, I think Topuria might win this. I think Topuria would struggle early. I think that it'd be a little bit like the Yan and O'Malley fight. I think that you would see Max Holloway have the volume advantage. I think Holloway would be landing. Holloway would be having success. Maybe Holloway could be landing uppercuts. Maybe Holloway could be, landing damaging shots because he has a lot of power at this point in his career. He sits down on his punches more often. But the reason why I might lean Topuria to win this gold medal match is because Holloway struggles against shorter opponents. And one of the things he would also have a hard time doing because he would be up against a shorter opponent is landing body shots. Max Holloway can't really effectively land lots of body punches against shorter opponents. And I think Ilia Topuria would be a nightmare for Max. So Max's volume would take a hit because of the lack of body punches. And I think that eventually Topuria could work his way into the pocket and tee off on Holloway with body shots. And also maybe he could tee off on him with a similar knockout combination that he delivered to Alexander Volkanovski. So I think, man, honestly, Spain might win gold, guys, as crazy as that seems. Max Holloway might get outboxed in the pocket by Ilia Topuria, who, in my opinion, has the nastiest combinations in that division right now. Holloway's volume is great. I just think that without the kicks, obviously he wouldn't be able to use that. And without a lot of body punches being available for him, I think that it would be a tough one. I'm just going to lean Topuria by KO in this one. Even though Holloway's never been KO'd, that's just my opinion. I think Topuria could win. Let's get on to the next one. The lightweight division. You know what? I think we're going to have a surprise third place. We might have to do Justin Gaethje. I know that's not that big of a surprise, but, if Gaethje can recover a little bit after that nasty KO that he took at UFC 300 and he can compete in this Olympic Games, he can work his way through a couple of opponents. I mean, we've seen guys like Dan Hooker get finished before, not flatline like that, but get brutalized against Poirier and beat up by Arnold Allen, and he came back and had a gritty Guerrero battle against Jalen Turner. So maybe Justin Gaethje would take third. I think Islam Makhachev would work his way into the gold medal match. I honestly do, and I think that Dustin Poirier would work his way into the gold medal match. And I think Dustin Poirier in a pure boxing battle would beat Islam Makhachev in a pure boxing battle. No takedowns, no kicks, all right, no grappling, none of that, just straight up boxing. I find it hard to believe that even Makhachev, even though he outboxed Poirier, listen, there's a lot going on in an MMA fight. Striking in MMA is different. I think that in a pure boxing battle, I think Poirier wins. I'm going to go with Poirier by decision or a late round TKO. Dustin Poirier from the U.S. wins gold. Islam Makhachev wins silver. Gaethje from the U.S. wins bronze. Let's get on to the welterweight division. Jeff Neal. All right, I think Jeff Neal is going to be in the mix. I also think Jack Della Maddalena is going to be in the mix. And I also think that this might come as a surprise, but I think that Wonderboy Thompson's boxing is underrated as well. I think that Wonderboy Thompson's boxing deserves to be on here. People forget, man. Wonderboy Thompson has really good combinations and punches and bunches, and he's very fast. Fair enough. You can predict what's coming when he's in a boxing battle because you know that he can only punch. But still, I might put Wonderboy at number 3. All right, I think Wonderboy is really good boxing. I think he would outbox Kamaru Usman. I think he would outbox Bilal. I think he would outbox Ian Gary. He could potentially outbox MVP. MVP is another really difficult guy to beat, even in boxing. So maybe I could consider putting MVP in there, but I just think the volume of Wonderboy would maybe win him that bronze medal match. So JDM versus Jeff Neal. I think this would be it. I think this would be the gold medal match. And I think Jack Della Maddalena from Australia beats Jeff Neal from the U.S. So that's right. I think that JDM would beat Jeff Neal because he has a more well-rounded boxing style. Both of these guys are very tough. Both of them are durable. Both have tons of power. One guy headhunts, the other doesn't. I think JDM has really great body shots. I think that would help him when it comes to volume. And I also think that JDM's defense is even better. I think that he has solid defense as well. So I'm going to go with Jack Della Maddalena by a gritty decision, winning gold. Jeff Neal of the U.S. winning silver. Wonderboy Thompson of the U.S. winning bronze. Let's get on to the middleweight division. Who is the best boxer at middleweight? Well, I know the top 3. Crafty Jack Hermansson out of Sweden. That's right. Sweden's taking home a bronze. Sorry. Sweden is taking home 3rd place. I know he's also Norwegian, but I think he represents Sweden. So we're going to give 3rd place to Jack Hermansson. We're not going to give it to him. Actually, no, he's going to earn 3rd place. I think Jack Hermansson, we saw him outbox Joe Pyfer, who may not be the most proven, but Joe Pyfer hits incredibly hard. And Jack Hermansson was able to weather the storm. He was able to showcase good defense. He leveled up tremendously since back in the day in that fight. His jab was amazing. His combinations were amazing. His head movement was really good. So I'm going to put Jack Hermansson at 3. He's winning the bronze medal. Who's in the gold medal match? Well, that's between Sean Strickland and Robert Whittaker. Now, this is a tricky one because Robert Whittaker has struggled with taller opponents throughout his career, but he also has the power advantage, the speed advantage, and I could see a guy with Robert Whittaker's karate blitz, with the way that he throws overhands and uppercuts and lead hooks where he kind of jumps into those strikes. I could see him being able to get past the awkward defense of Sean Strickland. But I might have to err on the side of caution and history with Sean Strickland because not many people have outboxed him. Okay, I know it's a totally different stylistic matchup, and he can't throw teeps, and he's a guy that likes to throw teeps. He relies on teeps and checking people's kicks to get his offense going as well. If Strickland can move forward in this matchup, I think he would win. The question is, would he have that much respect for Robert Whittaker? Would Whittaker be able to stop him in his tracks with his power and speed to get respect? That's really what it comes down to, because Whittaker is also, for the most part, a guy that likes to fight on the outside rather than getting in people's faces. But Whittaker recently has been sitting down on his punches more often and going for people, like he did against Paulo Costa and like he did in his last fight against Ikram Maleskarov. So this is a tough one. It's going to go down to the wire. I don't know. I have no idea who wins gold, who wins silver. But I may have to say that if Sean Strickland were to just box, I think that maybe Strickland could turn up his volume just a little bit, given that he wouldn't be able to teep. And I think that his defense is proven enough to where I could maybe trust him to win a decision. So maybe I'll go with Strickland by decision, but I could see Whittaker knocking him out or just out damaging him over the course of 3 rounds. This is truly one of the closest fights you can make for the gold medal match. Let's get on to light heavyweight. A little bit of a sleeper pick for the bronze medal at light heavyweight. I think that Switzerland's own Volkan Ozdemir would honestly win bronze. I think Volkan Ozdemir has really good boxing, really crisp, tight punches on the inside, lots of power. He doesn't make a lot of mistakes either. He used to overextend a little bit in the beginning of his career, but his boxing has gotten even better. I think this guy has better hands than Yuri Prohaska. I think he has more technical boxing than Jamal Hill. Again, an MMA fight, it's totally different. You know, there's kicks being thrown and flying knees being thrown. Of course, he's not going to outstrike those guys in every MMA fight, but I think in a pure boxing battle, Volkan Ozdemir is arguably top 5, top 3 in that division at 205 pounds. I'm going to say Volkan Ozdemir wins bronze. Gold medal match, okay, between Poland and Brazil, between Jan Blachowicz and Alex Pereira. And we've seen these guys throw down. We've seen these guys box. No leg kicks, so the leg kick battle doesn't matter. I think I'm going to go with Alex Pereira. All right. Blachowicz has been injured a couple of times throughout his career. He's coming off of like a shoulder tear, which is not a good look. And even though he did well in the boxing against Alex Pereira, and he has great boxing, he's got really fast hands. I mean, we think of him as, you know, the old hunchback of Notre Dame, old Jan Blachowicz, but he's actually got really fast hands. And, of course, we talk about the Polish power. He can knock Pereira out. But 205 Pereira, I think he's a different beast, even than the guy that he was when he fought Jan the first time. I think he's better today than he was back then. And I think the left hook would be an issue for Jan Blachowicz. The jabs to the body would be an issue for Jan Blachowicz. I just think he's right now in his prime. I think he would win a decision or a late knockout over Jan. But Jan Blachowicz, in my opinion, is the second best boxer in that division. Really good defense, underrated defense. But Pereira's got great defense too. He's able to deflect a lot of punches off of his arms these days, right? He's got a good ability to slip punches. And Jan Blachowicz, I mean, it's hard to hit this guy clean as well. So two of the best boxers, but I have to give Alex Pereira the edge, and I think he's winning gold, and I think Blachowicz is taking home silver. Let's get on to heavyweight. Heavyweight, you know what I'm going to say? The gold medal match is going to be between Tom Aspinall and Cyril Gane, and I think Sergey Pavlovich is probably the third best boxer. I think Gane would beat Sergey Pavlovich in a boxing match. I think Gane would work his way into the gold medal match, and I understand that you don't necessarily have to beat both guys that are competing for bronze to make it to the gold medal match. I just think that Gane would perform better in the Olympics, and he would make it to this point. And I also think he would beat Sergey in a fight. And we saw Tom Aspinall knock Sergey Pavlovich out when they were trading hands. I think Aspinall wins gold. I think Aspinall is fast, just like Gane, but he's got a lot more power, and he's got great combinations. And I just think that if you were to take away Gane's kicks, that really handicaps his ability to strike. His jab is great, but his jab alone, I don't know if that's enough to keep Tom Aspinall, who's got real good footwork as well, who's incredibly fast and explosive as well, who's got a good chin as well. I don't know if that's enough to keep him at bay. And I don't think Gane's got the right hand to land consistently on Tom Aspinall. I think Aspinall's winning this. I think he's ripping Gane up and knocking him out early. So Aspinall is winning gold. Gane from France winning silver. Russian Pavlovich winning bronze, but UK wins gold in boxing. Let's get on to the next sport, which is wrestling. We may as well start with the heavyweight division. Who is taking home gold in wrestling? Is it Jon Jones? Is it Tom Aspinall? Is it Curtis Plottyman Blades? Well, I honestly think if these guys were to compete, I know that MMA wrestling is different. Curtis Blades has a lot of experience, but I don't know if he out-wrestles Tom Aspinall. I don't know if he does. People might say, well, he wrestled in college and he was a champion. Well, that was a long time ago. It was a long time ago that happened, and he wasn't wrestling no Tom Aspinall, all right? Well, you don't understand, man. The wrestlers that were facing Curtis Blades were 10 levels above Tom Aspinall. You don't necessarily know who he's wrestling. I think that maybe we could see him out-wrestle a guy like Jailton Almeida, but we didn't, though. Jailton Almeida was taking this fucker down. Jailton Almeida was taking this dude down. Okay? That's kind of why I don't have that much of an issue with Tom Aspinall out-wrestling Curtis Blades. No, but you don't understand. If it was a wrestling match, Jailton Almeida wouldn't get a single takedown. I don't know if that's true. I don't know if that's true. You know what? I'm saying Jailton Almeida medals over Curtis Blades. I think Jailton Almeida takes Curtis Blades down, tips him over easily in a wrestling match. Easily in a wrestling match. He would take him down. Dude, he had like 12 takedowns in that fight. Fucking Jailton Almeida's in front of Curtis Blades. The question is Jailton Almeida in front of Tom. I'm going to say Tom Aspinall. We don't know what his takedown defense looks like. to be fair. We don't really know what Jilton Almeida's takedown defense looks like. I'm going to say Tom Aspinall would struggle with Jilton Almeida. Jilton Almeida could be like the sneaky, sleeper pick for this one. So I'm going to say Tom Aspinall maybe out-wrestles him and works his way up to gold. So we have Jilton Almeida at bronze. We've got Tom Aspinall versus Jon Jones wrestling for gold. It's not an old man's game, the Olympics. It's not an old man's game. It's a young man's game, and I think Aspinall's the fresher wrestler. I know some people are going to act like this is just blasphemous to just suggest that Jon Jones could possibly get out-wrestled by Tom Aspinall. He struggled to take down Dominic Reyes. And I know that there's the light heavyweight takedown defense versus heavyweight takedown defense, but I think Aspinall, he's just way bigger and stronger and faster than Jon. Way bigger, faster, and stronger than Jon. I know he out-wrestled Daniel Cormier. I think Jones would be the Jordan Burroughs. I think Jones would be like, gold medal this year, gold medal that year. He'd win 1 million gold medals up until he's 37. I think that's when you see a guy like Tom Aspinall, new guy on the block, I think takes him out. And I think that we see Tom Aspinall winning gold. That's right. I think Aspinall's wrestling, I think he would get the better of Jon if these guys were to wrestle right now. Now, you may say, oh, Jones has the crafty techniques. Maybe Jones has the crafty techniques. What about after the brutal injury? Because I agree that I think Jones would out-wrestle Tom Aspinall if they were to wrestle 4 years ago, 5 years ago, 100%. What about after that gruesome injury? I don't know. Maybe Jones takes down Aspinall. Maybe he does. This is a tough one. I don't know who wins, but I'm going to go with the younger guy that's not coming off of a pec tear. That's just a career ender for the Olympics. It seems like it might be a career ender for the Olympics, and that's the thing that's going to give Tom Aspinall the slight edge in this one. A little bit more gas in the tank of Tom Aspinall. Let's get on to the light heavyweight division. I think Russia's probably winning gold. That's right. I think Magomed Ankalaev is taking home the gold. But who takes home the silver? All right, this is the battle. Maybe we have a silver medal match after Magomed just assumes his spot at number one because he's like the only one. Who we got? We got Alexander Rakic, who has a pretty good double leg. We used to have Glover Teixeira. Yuri's not a grappler. Jamal Hill's not a grappler. Jan Blachowicz. I mean, we're really going to say Jan Blachowicz. You know what? I'm going to say Jan Blachowicz and Alexander Rakic make this. I think Rakic from Serbia wins the silver medal. Jan Blachowicz from Poland takes bronze. All right, let's get on to the next one. The middleweight division. Actually, one of the most wrestler-stacked divisions in the UFC. We've got Anthony Hernandez. We've got Dricus du Plessis. We've got Robert Whittaker, who has really good wrestling as well. But there are two fighters that are going to be in the gold medal match, and that is going to be a match between Khamzat Chimaev and Bo Nickal. That is going to be it. That's right. The unranked Bo Nickal is going to be making his way into the gold medal match. Now, again, I know that Bo had all these credentials in college, and he almost made the Olympics if it wasn't for the gold medalist himself that beat him in the Olympic trials. So he's elite. I mean, this guy could literally be competing in the Olympics anyway. He's not that far removed from those wrestling competitions. So I think that Bo Nickal could still out-wrestle basically everyone else in the middleweight division, aside from maybe Khamzat. We'll talk about that. Who would win bronze? Who wins bronze? Robert Whittaker competed in the Commonwealth Games. Robert Whittaker was a national champion in Australia. That is very impressive. So I think that I might go with Robert Whittaker's pure wrestling. Pure wrestling. I don't know if he out-wrestles Dricus du Plessis in a MMA match. He took down Dricus, but Dricus also took him down with a nasty hip toss. I think that in a pure wrestling match, Whittaker could work his way into the bronze medal third place spot for Australia. But now we have Russia versus the U.S. I'm going to go with Bo Nickal. The U.S. is taking home gold. That's right. I know Khamzat is a better MMA wrestler so far. I know that Khamzat has a submission game and he's looked more dominant, but, we're not doing jiu-jitsu. This ain't MMA, and I think that in a pure wrestling match where Bo Nickal has so much more experience compared to Khamzat Chimaev, and he's competed at such a high level, and he's almost made it to the Olympics, whereas Khamzat, he was wrestling in Sweden. The competition's just not the same. Again, in MMA, it's different. I think Khamzat could definitely beat him in MMA. He could maybe out-grapple him, but does he out-wrestle him in a wrestling match? I don't think so. I think Bo Nickal is winning gold. Khamzat is taking silver, and Robert Whittaker is taking bronze. So the U.S. wins gold in this one. Let's get on to the welterweight division. I'm going to call on Palestine's Bilal Muhammad for the top 3. I'm also going to call on Colby Chaos Covington. Now, he's getting older, and he seems mentally checked out, and that's not a good thing. But I feel like he's good enough to make the top 3. Who is going to come out on top? Well, who wins, Bilal or Kamaru Usman? I'm going to have to go with maybe Bilal. In MMA is the better wrestler right now, but maybe in a pure wrestling match, I don't know. Maybe Kamaru actually could win. I think actually Kamaru would win in a pure wrestling match. So maybe Kamaru gets gold. So Nigeria is winning gold. Okay, let's get on to the lightweight division. You know who's number 3? I'm going to go and give Mateusz Gamrot some credit. Even though Mateusz Gamrot can't keep someone down and hold someone down to save his life, he can certainly take you down. And he's got amazing grappling, pressure, and pace. So I think that I'm going to say that the bronze medal would go to Mateusz Gamrot. The gold medal match, this is no surprise, would be between Islam Makhachev of Russia and Arman Tsarukyan of Armenia. Who would win this? I'm going to go with the guy that's a little bit more proven, a little bit more in his prime. I know that he uses a lot of judo, fair enough, but I'm going to actually say that Islam Makhachev would maybe edge this one out. I think Russia is taking home gold for lightweight. Arman Tsarukyan would maybe take second place, or I guess he would take second place. He's taking home silver. Mateusz Gamrot from Poland is taking home bronze. Let's get on to the featherweight division. Well, who is the best wrestler at featherweight? Well, we've got a bunch. We've got Movsar Evloev. We've got Aljamain Sterling. We've got Bryce Mitchell. We've got Alexander Volkanovski and Ilia Topuria. You know, Ilia Topuria is not going to be that high up. I need to see more. I need to see more. Maybe if you're beating Josh Emmett up to a pulp, okay, you could take him down, but let's see more of just the pure wrestling and MMA. He got taken down by Bryce Mitchell. All right, nobody's holding down. Nobody's holding back Volkanovski. No one's holding him on his back. All right, so I think Volkanovski honestly would win this. I think Volk is the best pure wrestler in the featherweight division. Pure wrestling. I think he's the best with the cardio, with the pace, with the experience. All right, with the fast twitch ability, with the defensive grappling. I'm going to go ahead and say Movsar Evloev would probably win the silver. I think that Movsar Evloev would win silver, but I think Volk would beat him in the gold medal match because I think that, again, all that experience against a guy like Islam Makhachev, wrestling a bigger guy, stuffing the takedowns easily against Makhachev in the rematch. We didn't see any wrestling in Volk's loss against Topuria, but outside of that, I mean, it's been pretty top-notch. I think Movsar Evloev has amazing wrestling, but I think that he's taken silver to Volk. Now, who would win bronze? There's a lot of fighters that could be competing for bronze. It could be Aljamain Sterling from the U.S., it could be Ilia Topuria from Spain, or it could be Bryce Mitchell from the U.S. I just think that Ilia Topuria is a little bit crisper with his technique in wrestling, okay? It's just an eye test thing. I'm not the most knowledgeable wrestler, but I honestly think that Ilia Topuria could potentially out-wrestle Aljamain Sterling, who, to be honest, doesn't have the best takedown accuracy. It could be Bryce Mitchell. Bryce Mitchell's an honorable mention. He took down Ilia Topuria, and he held him on his back. But I think that Ilia Topuria, honestly, in a pure wrestling battle, when both of these guys are going to wrestle, he's so much stronger than Bryce Mitchell and so much more explosive that I think he could potentially beat Bryce Mitchell in a wrestling match. I think his technique is solid as well. But Bryce Mitchell would definitely go far. I think Ilia would out-wrestle Aljamain Sterling as well. So I'm going to go with Ilia Topuria for bronze, Movsar at silver, and Volkanovski at gold. Bantamweight. Who is going to win gold? Who is going to be in the gold medal match? Well, the most proven wrestlers right now at bantamweight, in my opinion, are Henry Cejudo and Petr Yan. That's right, not Merab, not Umar Nurmagomedov. Umar's great. He's a great grappler. But I think that Yan is more proven. I think that Yan would take down Merab easily early on in a wrestling match before he would get to the point to where he would gas out. I think Yan's technique prevails over Merab. Again, they're not wrestling for 20 minutes straight. They're wrestling until someone gets a certain amount of takedowns, certain amount of points. And I think Yan would accomplish that before he gasses out badly. But I still think that Henry Cejudo in a pure wrestling match, when he's been under the bright lights and he's fought at the highest level in wrestling, could probably out-wrestle Petr Yan. And I think Henry Cejudo would easily win gold even at his old age. I think it would come back easily to him, all the techniques and all the skills, the ones that he hasn't even been brushing up on recently. I mean, even in the early goings of fights, he's still easily out-wrestling Merab in the first round of their fight, easily took him down. He took down Aljamain Sterling despite the fact that he got taken down too, but Aljo was using the fence. You know, you can't really use the fence. There is no fence in a wrestling match. So I think Henry Cejudo still wins gold at bantamweight for the USA. The US is taking gold. Russia's taking silver. Bronze, I'm going to say Umar. I think Umar Nurmagomedov would go up against Merab, and I think he beats him. Again, without striking, without the clinch, without the fence, I think that Merab really suffers in a pure wrestling match, and I think that Umar Nurmagomedov's technique would prevail. Let's get on to flyweight. This may sound crazy, but I honestly think that the gold medal for flyweight for wrestling would go to Brazil. That's right, Brazil would win the gold. I think that Alexander Pantoja, despite the fact that we think of him as a jiu-jitsu guy, has insanely good wrestling and out-wrestled Steve Ercik, who's got insanely good wrestling too, on multiple occasions in their fight. I think that Pantoja for Brazil would win gold. I think that we could see Tatsudo Taira from Japan get in here somehow. Maybe he could win silver or bronze. But I think that Steve Ercik is a little bit of a better wrestler, just pure wrestler, than Tatsudo Taira, who can't submit people. You know, you don't have the cage to work with. I think that we would see Ercik wins silver. And I think that Tatsudo Taira would be in a bronze medal match against, I don't know, maybe Brandon Moreno, who's also got really solid wrestling. And I think Tatsudo Taira could potentially win that. So that is the top 3 for flyweight. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. That is it. I know that some of you guys are going to disagree with my takes, but I mean, we don't really know what would happen. I know that there are probably some other fighters that I didn't mention that have better technique than this guy, better technique than that guy, and maybe they would win. But this is just my list. There could be a better list, but this is the one that I made. Hope you guys enjoyed. Until next time.